It is 9 a.m. in Cologne, Germany. We're at the FIBO with a fun new segment for you guys that I'm very excited about. Franchise checks, okay? We're going to be doing a little dive into all 16 franchises of the European League of Football. And I am here with our resident expert that we are so lucky to have and pick his brain on all of these teams, Matt Bressington. What's going on, man? Let's talk about the first franchise in our new franchise check segment, the Nordic Storm, okay? And we're going to kind of buzz through these. These are each going to be about 10 to 12 minutes. But let's start off with the history of the Nordic Storm. Obviously a new team. Give me the rundown.
I mean, from the coming in with Copenhagen, they do also have Swedish and Danish homegrowns, which is a massive part. If you don't know the European League of Football, you need good homegrowns if you're going to be successful in this league. They are coming in with a nice stadium, over 13,000 in capacity, so we expect a nice amount of fans in that one. There's a ton of people in Denmark and Sweden be waiting for a team, so I think this one is going to be an instant fan favorite for the fans. And there's a lot of entertaining players we're going to get to in a second. They're going to be filling up those seats.
One of the things that you have here is that they have a big target on their back, and that we're going to get into that in a second here. And I think a lot of that has to do with some of the players that they have acquired. So with that being said, let's take a look at this season, all right? And you've prepared for all the franchises, players that they've acquired, players that they've retained, and players that they've lost. Well, obviously for a brand new franchise, all they can do is acquire talents, and they have done just that. So let's talk about, give me some of the main acquisitions for this squad this year.
Absolutely, let's just start. Jadrian Clark. It makes sense. He's the second one on the list there, number 18. Our MVP of the league a couple seasons ago, the best quarterback season we've ever seen in the ELF. He is a rocket of an arm, he's poised in the pocket, he's a great leader, he's everything you want from your American quarterback. But then we talked about those homegrowns. You got Ludwig Myron there at the top of your screen, outside linebacker from Sweden. Very versatile, can play across the whole of the linebacker core, can even move into nickel. You know, he is a undersized linebacker if you just look at the measurables, but that versatility makes him an absolute weapon. And a lot of people are talking about Chad Warrant as one of the best safeties in the league, and I agree. And pre-season of the last year, you know, I had some concerns. I was like, he's a little bit injured, a little bit banged up. You know, he's never played a full season in the ELF. He comes in and shuts me up with an all-star.
He proved you wrong, didn't he?
He really did. Yeah. He was happy to tell me that as well. So that was good to see him take that step up within the Surge system. But now he's moving on to Nordic Storm. We need to see if he can replicate that. Waheem Christiansen as well. In my opinion, the best center we've ever seen in the European League of Football. He came out of retirement this year to come and play for his hometown team, and he is going to be instrumental. Him and Jadrian have played together already with the Ryan Fire. This is so important for them to have that connection immediately. It's going to be electric from the very get-go.
There we go. And then sticking with the offensive line, you've talked a lot about Stefan Stefansson.
I have.
What are your thoughts on him?
Stefan Stefansson. So I have him projected at this level better as a guard. Okay. He came into Helvetic. He was a right tackle, left tackle. I think that he would be better in this system in that guard. You know, he's a mauler. They don't call him the polar bear for nothing. You know, you don't get a nickname like that without being a big, aggressive dude. So put him a guard, let Glenn run towards him, because no one's getting past Stefansson. He's massive. Probably the biggest person we have in this league. So I would like to see him come in the guard. You got some college football experience as well in the tackle positions, and then you got Victor Newman, another young Swedish offensive lineman. I think is really coming through.
There we go. So you've also noted that, you know, there's a lot of different ways that this team can win. Can you elaborate on that? What's that mean? What are the different ways that this team can be successful on offense?
Just weapons, man. You look at this team from start to finish. You got Jadrian, who is an MVP. You got Glenn Tonga, who's an MVP. You've got someone who I've been waiting a long time for, is wide receiver Edvin Tabora. He's been playing in the Swedish league for a couple seasons. He plays in the slot, but he can play all over. He's longer, more lengthy, he's athletic, probably the most athletic receiver they have in their homegrown core. Jacob Green, he's got a year in American experience. Theo Landstrom, he's an ELF veteran. We saw him with Barcelona Dragons a couple seasons back. That's just a receiver core, just a little bit of their running back core. You have Andrea Botello Moreno, the best tight end we've ever had in ELF history. You've got Jonathan Steinhauer, a former Baylor tight end. You've got Oliver Tribier, the third tight end on their depth chart, is also an ELF veteran. It doesn't really get much more stacked than that.
Well, then let me ask you this. They're stacked, clearly. They've got talent. They've got a lot of big names. Are the expectations too high? Are the expectations unrealistic for this franchise? Also because they have Coach Shoup. A lot of people are expecting, okay, they better be a competitor right away.
Absolutely. I think they will be. I think they are expected to be elite level. I think they have the elite players in place to do that. Like you said, John Shoup, I think a lot of people regard him as the best offensive mind in football. You know, you can argue him, you can argue Andrew, but a lot of people I've talked to think that John is their guy. So I'm expecting him to get creative. He was with these two in the backfield when they were at Ryan. He was a quarterback coach, so he spent a lot of time with them. I think this expectations are accurate. You know, it could be the best team to ever be in their first season the ELF.
Well, we saw the Madrid Bravos last year make the playoffs in their first ever season. Let's see if the Nordic Storm can do that. Let's take a look now at their schedule for 2025 that we have got here, and we've got this up here, a nice beautiful graphic. Shout out to Maxie, our producer. All right, let's start this off. I'm going to go, all right, first game, Helvetic Mercenaries. That's a W.
Yeah, fair.
Right?
Fair.
Panthers, W. I'm giving them a W. Berlin, W. Sorry, Berlin. I don't know. I'm not feeling good about Berlin this year.
We'll get to them.
Then they've got a bye, and then the Frankfurt Galaxy. Hear me out. They're going to lose this game, okay? They're going to start off strong. They're going to start to feel a little maybe complacent. Be like, okay, you know, we're a brand new team, and this is going to be kind of their slip-up game. This is going to be their check game. And I think the Frankfurt Galaxy got them on that. Okay, take out the rest of the schedule for me.
I think we've got the Panthers next. I think that's probably a W.
Okay.
Yeah. I think you come in. Helvetic again. I think they sweep Helvetic. I think they take that one as well. And then you look at Hamburg. It's a tough one. I think they get another W. I think they right the ship. They're completely fine. Ryan Fire. Now this is the one everyone wants to talk about. This is a homecoming game. You ready, Nick? I think they get a win. I think they get a win against the Fire. That's going to be a big one.
Bold.
Berlin, again, I'm thinking that's going to be another win. Galaxy, I think they avenge their early loss. They go 1-1 with the Galaxy. Good. So look at that record already. Then Hamburg again, tough one. I think this will be another close game, but I think they come out on top. The final game with Ryan, I think they get complacent. You know, they're sitting at 10-1. They've already beat them, and I think they take another L, and I think it could affect playoff seedings, but I think they take the L.
Interesting. So we have got the Nordic Storm at 10-2 for their inaugural season. That's a pretty impressive opening season, but they've got pretty impressive guys, man. I think this is completely realistic. You know, we'll see about that early Frankfurt loss, but, you know, we have to give them a little stumble early. They can't come out and just be perfect there. So we're having that 10-2. That will put them in playoff contention. That will put them as a contender. All right, let's wrap this up with the Nordic Storm. What are the keys to success for this team to actually go out and be 10-2 in their first year? I
think that offense we talked so much about, keeping that explosive, keeping that scoring is the most important thing for them. They need to be physical. They've got all these great, I mean, we know the stereotype about the Sweden and the Denmark players, they're big boys. You know, they need to be physical with that. Give Jay and Glenn the time to run and move. Keep that pocket clean. They cannot work. Jay is a mobile guy inside the pocket. They can allow a little bit of space. Glenn, another physical guy. They need to give them space. And then don't be overconfident. You know, we said about them losing that game because of overconfidence. We don't want that to happen. We want to stay focused on the goal. I think they have a lot of championship experience, so I think they can do that. You know, they've got multiple all-stars littered across this team, and I think they'll be fine.
They've got the talent, they've got the coach, they've got the players. They've got to bring it all together. That's what we got. Nordic Storm for the first ever year, and there is our franchise check on the Storm.